All right, welcome to case study number 3 of this series so brilliantly titled Kirk's 40 Case Study Closings. I'm your host, Ryan Kirk, and these case studies range from vacant lots to custom luxury homes and total $2,042,081.71 in profits and equity without having to personally go see the property on some. With no cash, no credit of my own, it varies, and I'll explain. And I do it all with Flip Logic and 1888 cash offer. Now let's get into number 3 of the 40 case studies. 8734 Hollycrest in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This warms my heart. And that's because this is another out-of-state deal. The deal being in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and me being in Southern California. And I've never even been to Tennessee. That's what makes this deal so exciting. But let's break it down. Let's talk about it. Obviously, it looks like it's in a rural, woodsy area, and it was at the end of a cul-de-sac on a large parcel. I think it was almost an acre parcel, very woodsy, and I think the house was just under 3,000 square feet, so relatively large house. Maybe it was in the 2,000 square foot range, somewhere in there. And the deal was, it was a vacant, out-of-state owner, and it was a trust sale. So it was two brothers. I remember that one of them was in Florida, the other was in Arizona. They inherited the property. I think it was their folks. I don't know when the last time somebody had lived there. It was pretty run down. And it was run down. It was unfinanceable, so this was going to be a cash-only sale. And I found the property through a list, a vacant house list. And so the property, if you were going to reproduce this same type of lead, you would find it from a vacant house property list or an out-of-state absentee owner list, because that's what this was, and possibly maybe even if you can pull like an estate sale or trust sale type list, but out-of-state absentee owner would have pulled this lead for you. And the condition, major rehab, needed everything. Not only did it need everything, but it needed the floor plan to be reconfigured. And I remember, because I followed up with the cash buyer that I flipped this to, that he ended up taking the kitchen down below and moving it upstairs. I think he moved the laundry room somewhere too. He relocated that. And then, of course, he redid the whole house from top to bottom. And it did run him about $35 a square foot. So the ARV on this came out to be $230. The purchase price, originally the sellers had this listed with the real estate broker, and I don't remember how long it was sitting on the market. You could go back and pull it if you go look at it on Zillow or Redfin and see what the price sales history was. But I do remember they had it, they were asking too much. It had been sitting on the market. I found it, and just as we do, you reverse engineer it to come up with a price that a renovator would be happy with it at, renovator, cash buyer, and a price that you would need it in order to make a wholesale profit. So in this case, the exit price, max rehab price, was going to be $86,500. As you can see, that's what the investor paid, and then my purchase price was $70,000, and I made a total profit of $16,500, which is not a bad deal. And I was actually going to calculate what that was. If you take $16,500, divide that into 230, that ended up being a 7% wholesale profit margin. So a little bit more than what a realtor would make if they double-ended it, right? Getting the listing and selling commission. So this was an on the MLS deal. Now, it is best to do deals that are off market, unlisted, because they have less activity. There's been less exposure. You're going to have less competition. So that means you're going to get usually a better deal or a better margin. And then when you do go to market it makes it much easier to move to, or it can anyway, because you're bringing fresh product to the marketplace or to buyers that have never seen this property before. Now in this case, it had just gone, under or off of everybody's radar because it was listed for too much, and it sat. So the other benefit of whether it's off market or on market, the value that you're bringing is that you're taking a property, you're doing the analysis, and you're creating that analysis into reports like a CMA and a pro forma, and then of course that goes into the body of an email, and then you're bringing that to the surface, so to speak, as you're presenting it and putting it in front of everybody's eyeballs, the cash buyers, so it's easy for them to see what price it's going to work at. Because if they don't have a system like FlipLogic, like what you're using, it's more time intensive to find the lead, break it down, what's going to work, right? What price is going to work, what's going to create the ROI that they need to have it at in order to make it worth their time and effort. And then getting, presenting that to the seller to where you can then, get them the offer, persuade them, or use the law of reciprocity, right? But ultimately persuade them into saying yes, to sign the contract. So you have a contract now that you can do a deal on. So you can see where, despite whether it's on the market or off the market, you're creating a lot of value when you put those numbers together and you put it under contract. So purchase price was 70. The terms, this was a slower market than what I'm normally used to. So I wanted to give myself more time instead of a typical 7 to 10 day inspection period and a 14-day closing period for me in a faster moving market. In this slower moving market where I didn't have a network immediately that I could just tap into at the time anyway, I wanted to have a 14-day inspection, 21-day close, just to give me a little more time. And then, of course, I had buyer pays all closing costs, except any real estate commissions. There was no real estate commissions that I offer to pay. That's always going to be the seller's expense. So the investor came from a marketing blast. So you can pull a cash buyer list. You can run a search right through FlipLogic, pull that list of buyers in the area, and then blast your deal to them. And then the investor that we got for this, he paid $86,500, so that was a $16,500 profit. And we use FlipLogic, and the assignment is what we use to flip it to the cash buyer. So we put it under contract, purchase sale agreement, used an assignment to flip it to the cash buyer. So then we didn't have a set of closing costs or any fees that we had to pay. So we got dollar for dollar between the 70 and the 86,500, and then he closed on it with cash. Cool. So that is, again, the power of wholesaling. You're not limited geographically from where the property is or wherever you are at the time of you doing the deal. So I hope that was helpful. Statistically, only 10% of YouTube videos are watched until the end. So if you're in that 10%, what you are in this case, you're a hustler, persistent, determined to succeed. And I really do wish you much success. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to working with you.